Okay, so there's a topic that I've been kind of thinking about lately, and it's about mental health and like disability and stuff. I haven't looked into this really. Like, I don't know what. I'm in Canada, by the way, too. I don't know what makes something a disability or like what things can qualify as a disability. Like, is ADHD a disability? Is depression a disability? Um, because like my husband, the way that he is with his depression, like he has reoccurring episodes, which is like it's quite debilitating. Like he can't maintain a job really over a long period of time. He will get into a depressive episode and then he just stops ever leaving the house basically. Like that's what's going on right now. And we've been together for quite a while. uh I think 2012 is when we came to Nova Scotia from BC, which is where we met. He's from here though. But so yeah, quite a few years ago. It's now 2025. That's gonna be hard to get used to. But yeah, I was thinking like, because it's really long lasting. I googled how long a depressive episode is, and it said on average 3 to 4 months. I don't know how much variability there would be in that, like between people. Maybe it does vary like a lot, but I could definitely believe that that's how long it lasts for him. And it's like financially, every time it happens, it's devastating because like he has so much more earning potential than me. Like even if I worked, had my nose to the grind like all the time, um, I just still wouldn't really make that much money. And I can only work as much as there's work available also at my job. But like if I got another job or whatever, but that wouldn't mean like because he's in a depressive episode, so it's not like he's doing all the stuff at home still. No. Like however much I work outside the home, I still have to work inside the home too, doing all the stuff that's like taking care of everything and like managing things. Like I'm not off the hook on that stuff. He's not going to cook just because he's home all day. He doesn't. So that means I still have to like have that in my mind too, like what's going to be for supper, how long is it going to take to make it and shit like that, which I just don't manage it. I don't manage the planning very well at all. Like sometimes it takes me like 2 hours after I get home from work to make something to eat. And it's like, what the fuck? It's almost time to go to bed now for the kids. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to send them to bed with their stomachs completely full. So then you get into like keeping them up a little bit late to kind of give a little more time for digestion. I don't know. But yeah, it's just an interesting topic. Like, I think my ADHD, maybe it's not the ADHD, I don't know. But I think it makes it harder for me to just be at home. Like, it's worse on me. If I was just at home all day and didn't have a job, like, didn't have something else to be getting to, then I would start to be having a hard time with that. Like I'd start getting depressed. I would definitely worry that I was going to get depressed. I get like so antsy with being at home. And for sure, like taking a stimulant and being at home, it's like you need to be getting some kind of thing underway. I have been doing a project. I've been doing a writing project. I decided to look back at the time, and that's kind of how this probably got in my head about the depressive episodes. I decided to look back. I thought, um, like me and my husband had been talking, and I thought about the situation with living with his grandmother and how intense it had been. Like it was really, really tough. Like there was suicidal feelings going on with both of us. And like it was traumatic. It was really difficult being in that living situation again. And writing about it, I've been writing about it. I started out with that plan of I was going to write about that time period, and I haven't actually reached that point yet. Because once I started writing, I thought of it that I wanted to go back further before we moved. Because we've moved so much. And I was thinking of going back to when we lived in the yellow house, which is the house he grew up in. And then before I started writing about that, I thought, well, maybe I should go back even further. And I decided to go back all the way to when my daughter was born. So 2015, that is. So I started writing about that time. And then we moved. We moved in with the grandmother. And we'd been living there, and then there was a terrible fight, and I couldn't live with it. Like, it was kind of between me and her, where I was just like, she doesn't want us to be here. This is awful. Let's get the fuck out of here. Um, and we kind of like promised ourselves, like, never again. We're never coming back here. And then we left. We found a place pretty quickly. I mean, we were trying all day, every day to find a place because we were like, we have to get the fuck out of here. And this is with our kid, who was less than 2 years old, right? So we moved out. We stayed there for a while. And then we decided to have another baby. So we were trying. And then we had the baby. And that was my son. And then that was in 2019. And then I kept on worrying about him being too hot in that apartment because it was on the 3rd floor and we had a deep freeze in there too. So it really was heating up. I find it so worrying. It's probably just an every parent thing that, like, you worry about your kid when they're sleeping. You worry about the temperature. Like, I always worried, like, it's too cold when we lived in the yellow house. In that place, it was too hot. But when we tried to move, like, writing about this whole time period, like, of all the moves and stuff, has been so eye-opening because I was like, okay, every time, like, this deadline will come up on us, and it's never been working out. Like, when we have to manage our living situation, we bungle it almost every fucking time. Like, we get into disaster area just repeatedly. Well, of course, like, having a financial situation that's so challenging and, like, so unpredictable is, like, every time, like, he can make lots of money and we'll have lots of money. And then, I mean, in my opinion, you know, not like a normal person's opinion, but, then he'll have this depressive episode and it's like we just burn through all the money so we can never get anywhere. Like, there's never any progress made because we use all that money that we made to just make it through the depressive episode, which we, like, kind of don't make it through usually. Like, a lot of times we've had to rely on outside help. Like, we've been on welfare before. Yeah, when we lived in that apartment, we had to go on welfare, and we were late on rent once, which in my mind is, like, huge. I don't know if people are, like, around just, like, repeatedly being late on rent, but in my mind, it's like, that is a nightmare. Like, you can't be late on rent. What if they kick you out? So, yeah, just writing about it has been so interesting. And then, when we had to move again there, like, we weren't prepared, and we had to buy more time. So we moved into the grandmother's house, but she wasn't there. She was away at the cottage. Like, this was fine, obviously. And then we just ended up figuring out this other place, the yellow house, where my husband grew up. And it was a fucking disaster. So many different living situations. It's like, what the hell, man? It was such a dark time. There were so many different times that were such a dark time. Which you could say, like, wow, you're resilient, you're making it. But it's like, are we? I don't know. But yeah, that's just what makes me think, like, I think maybe this is a disability because it's so debilitating. Like, he can't hold down a job. And, like, I can't either with my ADHD. This is the only job I've ever been able to hold down. Like, any other job, I would have quit. I quit within 2 years. Even shorter sometimes. And some jobs I just, like, completely can't handle having. This job has, like, insane flexibility. I'm working for his mom, like, my mother-in-law, so I have a lot of benefit. Like, yeah, it's really something. I don't know, maybe this was kind of too much of a ramble, but I'm glad I made a video. I hope you guys are doing well. Bye!